I'm Eric Price with LI-COR Biosciences. Today I'm going to show you how to calibrate the LI-600 Porometer fluorometer. Specifically how to zero the instrument, telling the relative humidity sensors to read exactly 0 when they're seeing dry air. There are 3 methods to do this. One would be an external pump with desiccant, and I'll show you how to use that in this video. Another method would be to use a tank of dry air. I'll also show you that. A third method would be how to use the internal pump in the LI-600 to flow desiccant air through the relative humidity sensors. That process is described in another video. For the calibration using tank air or a desiccant with an external pump, the items that you'll need would be the calibration clamp that comes with the instrument, some length of tubing to run from your tank of dry air to the instrument, as well as the tubing with the hose barb so that it can insert into the calibration clamp. And you'll need a piece of plastic or laminated paper to clamp into the instrument so that we get a good seal and we get flow to both relative humidity sensors. You'll also need the USB cable that came with the instrument and a computer to perform the calibration operation. So let's get started. So one method to zero the instrument is to use a tank of dry air. You can really use just about any tank of gas since we're not concerned about CO2 or methane, any of those gases. So tanks like nitrogen, helium, argon, CO2 in air, any of those mixtures should work with this instrument. But the important thing is to make sure that your tank has a regulator and a flow meter. We want to make sure that we're flowing a very low flow rate of air through the instrument, about 0.25 liters per minute or less. The instrument is not designed to handle high flow rates that typically come out of a tank as you would use it without a regulator. So you want to make sure that you're using a regulator and a flow meter to restrict the flow to 0.25 liters per minute or less. As far as the instrument itself, the only hardware change you'll need to do is to remove the leaf clip by pulling it straight out. It might take some force, but it should pull straight out like that. Now you'll want to install the calibration clamp in the same way. And you should hear a click when it makes contact. Now we can put in the 1032 hose barb into the calibration clamp itself and connect it to the tubing coming out of the tank using a quick connect fitting. Next, we'll turn the instrument on and connect it to the computer using the USB cable that came with it. In the LI-600 Windows or Mac interface software, it should automatically recognize the instrument. So click on Explore LI-600. In the top left corner, you'll see a drop-down menu with the serial number listed. If you click on that and go down to Instrument Calibration, you will see a new menu, and you'll want to click on Relative Humidity 0 in the top left corner. Make sure to read the manual or watch this video, and click on Begin RH0 Calibration on the right side. Now, when we are zeroing with a tank or with external chemicals using an external pump, we want to make sure to turn the internal pump off. So go ahead and click on that and turn off the blower as well. Now we are ready to open the tank. So I'm going to turn on my tank gas and make sure that it has a very low flow rate of 0.25 liters per minute or less. If you're not sure if your tank is completely dry, you can put some desiccant in line between the tank and the instrument to further dry it. But we can see that already my tank is working. It's flowing dry air through reference and sample. We can see my relative humidity is dropping as well. You can change the scale of this graph by clicking on the pencil icon in the top right corner. When we're calibrating with zero gas, we probably want a Y minimum of -1, a positive scale of 1, and an X size of 300 seconds. We can watch the relative humidity continue to drop over this time frame. Typically, you'll want to calibrate, run the zero gas for 30 minutes to 1 hour. Because it is such a low flow rate, we want to make sure that we're completely flushing all the water vapor out of the instrument. After you've let the system run for about 30 minutes to 1 hour, we should reach a relative humidity that is close to zero and very stable. If it's within plus or minus 1, you probably don't need to click 0 at all. You've just confirmed that the instrument is truly reading close to 0. But if the relative humidity values are larger than this range of -1 to +1, then you will need to click on the 0 icon located next to each relative humidity value. Once you've done that, the relative humidity sensors will read very close to 0. And now you've completed your zero calibration. You can exit this menu, turn off the instrument, and replace the calibration clip with the leaf clamp. So that is how you do a calibration. Once you're finished, make sure that you put the instrument back together completely as it was, including replacing the buffer beads if you've taken those out, replacing the leaf clamp if you've taken that out, and putting the shells back on the sides of the instrument. Now you're ready to go make measurements. There are several other videos on our support site about the LI-600 and other instruments. And as always, if you have any questions, feel free to let us know or contact our distributors around the world. Thanks for watching.